Welcome to module number 9, and we want to finish our first week of the bootcamp strong as we can. So we're going to swoop in another mindset session, and today we're covering bold money beliefs. And this is something which follows the steps of training our mindset into a wealth mindset, into a mindset of abundance. So you've done already a couple of mindset classes in week 1, which is good, which is laying the foundation bit by bit. And today we're going to expand our mind into big thinking, and I'm going to give you some amazing examples, amazing teaching, and you also have like an exercise at the end. So we tie it all together for your personal strategy, for your personal implementation, and I created a worksheet for you so you can download that and have some fun in your own time doing your homework. So let's have a look what our focus is today, the belief action wealth loop. What bold money beliefs really are. And this is beyond the mindset fluff. This is beyond the easy single things you might learn from one of the reels or shorts out there on social media. This is something that's really driving change. And what you want to do in your own life is you want to drive change. You want to be a change driver in your own life. And I can't change you. Your parents can't change you. Your partner can't change you. Your boss can't change you. I mean, people can make you do things because there is an exchange of something. Let's say your boss wants you to do that stupid work for the next 5 hours. He's paying you, so you're going to do it, but he can't change you. The only person who is able to change you is you yourself. And the only person who can change me is me. And if you want to have a different outcome tomorrow than you have today, then you need to change yourself into a different person compared to yesterday, because the person from yesterday will have the same outcome tomorrow than today. I hope this makes sense. But it's like insanity. That's what Albert Einstein said. It's insanity to do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result. And what we want to do is we want to take our identity, we want to open up that box we might have been left closed for the last couple of years because maybe we're scared of what we see, maybe we're curious of what we see, but we can actually go down into our identity, shape ourselves to be that person I want to be tomorrow, because that person I want to be tomorrow has the environment, has the life, has the lifestyle of that person tomorrow. And this might sound far away, but it is closer than you think, because I'm gonna break it down for you in this session, show you a couple of things you can do instantly, and the worksheet I'm providing for you is something that making a big difference on your journey, and I believe this is a very helpful tool. So stick till the end, and I'll tell you how to actually make most out of this training. The second thing is the psychology of rewiring your financial patterns. This is something very powerful. Since I've stumbled into one of those mindset classes from Tony Robbins many years ago, I was instantly hooked about how I can create a better life for myself by changing what is going on inside me, how I can rewire myself to become the person I want to be. Sometimes, yes, it is self-manipulation, but it's just to have the better outcome for myself, so I know what I'm doing with myself here. And this is something where I put all the cards on the table, so I show you exactly what I do, how I do it, and you can choose whether or not you want to follow that way. But as I told you, this exercise today is very liberating, very powerful. And if you're one of those people who are a bit skeptical toward mindset stuff, I encourage you to still follow along, try it out for yourself, see if there is any difference afterwards. And I was skeptical towards so many things up front. Meditation might be the biggest one. I was always thinking this is some hooky spooky gaga stuff and it's not really helping, until I started doing a 30-day challenge on meditation. And I thought, wow, this is so crazy what's going on in myself. So powerful. Or another example would be vibration, sound vibration. I was so skeptical But now, when I want to rewire my brain, have like a moment where brain pretty much resets and puts out all the noise. I have some sound frequencies. I close my eyes. I do quick meditation, and afterwards, I am like a new person. So this stuff really works. And just because we are skeptical or don't believe in stuff, it doesn't change the fact that we can take advantage of it. So I want you to take advantage of this session today. Look with me in the psychology of rewiring your financial patterns. Also, bold money beliefs in action, real world examples of wealthy thinking in action. So that's something you can instantly implement, and how to turn beliefs into bold financial moves. This is something when we tie it together for you today. So the belief action wealth loop, something that might sound a bit familiar because we covered that a bit in previous sessions. Most people try to change their actions, being really hard on discipline, really diligent on pushing something, making it a challenge, a really hard challenge, so you feel like the pain because you need to feel the pain and all this kind of stuff. But that's really something you want to avoid when it comes to your financial journey, because if you make it an unpleasant feeling, it's not just that it's not working, you're also messing up your positive connection to building wealth, because you're creating hardship for yourself. And it's really something you want to be careful what you do. So what you want to do is you want to build your identity and belief system first. Because when your identity is set, you do what you do and have a different outcome than another identity within you from yesterday. So that's something very powerful, because identity drives change. Also, belief drives change. So if I believe a certain thing, I will have a specific outcome. An easy example: if I believe it is always hard, or life is hard, life is a fight, and I have to fight for scraps in life because life is tough on me, then my belief system is life is hard, life is tough. But if I say, well, life is a dance, life is easy, then suddenly everything that was hard beforehand changes into something that's doable. And even if I have obstacles in my way, it turns out to be, from my perspective, something that can be overcome, something that's easier. I don't have to like have my guard up all the time and make it hard for myself because life is a fight, life is a battle. No, I say, okay, there's easiness because dancing is easy. Dancing is something fun, or life is a game. And you totally start applying everything into like a gamer perspective, and suddenly an obstacle is not an obstacle, a problem is a problem. A problem is a challenge to level up, my friend, and suddenly in front of you is the next level. So the end boss, you need to tackle the end boss before you level up. So approaching it as a gamer is different than approaching it as a constantly fighting warrior, which is warring you out because you see an enemy in everything and you don't want to do this. So belief and identity, the most powerful hacks you can actually use and change on this journey to move forward and create the life of your dreams. And we had something like that before, like the framework: identity drive a belief, belief drive the action, and the action bring in the results. So I had this example of the drummer in the past. And just in case you don't remember, I want to give you a quick of a recap. So I used to be a drummer, and I was like playing the drums. So I was like doing these classes with this drumming teacher, and I was there and I was really having a hard time. And yes, I had a band and I had to learn certain things, but I was like, well, I'm learning the drums. And if someone asks me, Manu, what you doing? What's your hobby? I'm learning the drums. And that was my standard statement to that. And then my teacher, he recognized that I was not doing my homework on a regular basis. And he was like, Manu, what's going on? It's not working that way. I mean, you're paying for the classes. They're not cheap because drumming lessons were quite expensive at that time. You're paying for it. Why you're not doing your homework? I mean, that's like you're missing out on so big things. And I can't build on you. I can't build lessons upon other lessons if you don't do your homework. I can't teach you the next stuff if you don't learn the stuff I taught you last week. And it's getting really, really annoying if you don't progress further, because I have other students I said no to. I closed my doors to them because, buddy, I wanted to train you, but you're not willing to put in the work to get anywhere, any place. And I was like, well, it's really hard on me. Why is it hard on me? It's hard on me because I'm not familiar with playing the drums, and It's new. I'm not used to do some musical stuff, and it was the first instrument I was learning. And it was like, Manu, your problem is your identity. I was like, what's my identity? It's not a problem. I am who I am. I'm Manu. No, yes, you're Manu, but you're a drummer. And I was like, yeah, I'm not good enough to play the drum, be a drummer. I want to train to be a drummer. I said, no, Manu. The first moment you got your sticks in your hand, you are a drummer. You are a drummer with a really, really, really bad skill set. But it's okay, you're still a drummer. And a drummer does what a drummer does. He exercises to get better. And then you become a better drummer and a better drummer and a really good drummer at one point. But you're still a drummer, whether or not you're good. I mean, $50. Have a $50 note in front of you. It's worth $50. Now, if you put it together, you really are rough on it, you put it down into the dirt, maybe into some dog poo, and you open it up again and you hold it in front of you. It stinks, it smells, it looks bad. Maybe you cut the edges. It's still worth $50. So it doesn't matter if it's shiny and nice and glossy or it's full of dog crap. It's still worth $50. So if you put it under in the sink and wash it a bit and you go shopping with it, they will still take the $50. Although they're like, oh, it's a bit smelly, but it's still worth $50. So if you define an identity within you, you want to have, you want to be, and you define it, because the only person who can define your identity is you. And if you say, I am a wealth builder, doesn't matter if I have $100,000 in student loans, $100,000 in credit card loans, I have no clue about how to budget, but I want to move towards financial freedom, then my friend, you're a wealth builder. Or you say, well, I have no clue what I'm doing, but I'm watching this session here on YouTube. I'm not even part of that community, but you're watching the training. My friend, you are a wealth builder, because a wealth builder is a person who is moving towards a wealthier and better future. A future where they like draw the circle wider and wider, create wealth for themselves and their loved ones and people around them, impacting not only their own lives, but the lives of others as well. And if that is something you want to do at one point in your future, better start now naming yourself a wealth builder. Better putting on that identity right now, because it makes it so much easier for you along the journey. Because if you always struggle with your identity, if you're always unsure what you're doing, you only do it half-heartedly and you're missing out on so many things. And the effort is still the same and the time you put in is still the same. But if you're only here with a half heart, you're missing out, because you're wasting yourself of the fruits they will be after you've done the session, after you've done the whole boot camp. And you put in the same energy and you put in the same time. I mean, watching that video, even if you're watching at double speed, it still takes time. And if you take nothing out of it, it's time wasted. But if you take time and process it and use it, it's time won. It's a great investment, and it will be the best investment for you if you apply it instantly. So your identity, my friend, is the major thing you want to work on. And that's the major part we're working on our Mindset Week, week 3. So it's all about mindset, but identity and belief is the biggest thing we can work on, because that drives actions, that drives outcome, that drives result. So I don't need to build habits if my identity doesn't want to build that habits. So it all starts with you, and the only person who can start with you is you. So this is a very powerful thing when it comes to the belief action wealth loop. You don't need more money hacks. That's another thing. I know so many people are preaching or follow this hack or those 10 tips, or are gonna give you a sneak peek into something that's very powerful. Just do that one thing, or you need that one business idea. That's marketing. I've been like watching those marketers for years. And I know some marketing stuff. I know how they talk. I refuse to talk the same way in most cases. And the thing is, I believe that it needs to be something that's transforming you, not something you just do. Because if you do just something that you just do, it's just like one action, but you forget the big picture, the big thing around it. And we don't want to do just the tiny thing. We want to create a new financial identity within us. And that's something that's just like seconding the thought we had already before with the first bullet point. Identity is so powerful, and you wanna really take that serious. Third part is people with wealth think differently. Just giving you an example, if you have two persons or two people, just asking you the question: if I give you $10,000 right now, what would you do with it? What exactly would you do with 10 grand right now? And if you have like most people out there on the street, if you say, I give you 10 grand, what you do? Oh, I'm gonna go shopping. Because they're already in shopping mode. They're already outside, they're already maybe in front of the mall. When you ask them, they want to spend the money. Or some might say, well, I have some credit cards I want to pay back. Okay, fair point. Pay back something that's really charging you a lot of money in return. But there might be people, they say, well, give me 10 grand and I invest it. I already know what kind of investment I want to pursue. And that's like all coming down to what they think, what they can do with those 10 grand. If I give you 10 grand and you don't think about it, you think, well, 10 grand is worth like a wonderful afternoon shopping, maybe it's a new car. So you equal 10 grand towards like a new used car. Okay, you have something in exchange. But for someone who has a wealth mindset, they say 10 grand is potentially 100 grand. 100 grand, potentially a million. So what I'm holding in my hand, what you offer me to give me right now is a potential $1 million. If I just take advantage of money working for me, if I just put it and delegate it to the right spot. That's how wealthy people think. And that's how I want you to start thinking. Every dollar in your pocket, every $4.50 you're spending on that Starbucks coffee is something that's potentially worth $10,000 if you delegate it to the right spot. If you add more to it, if compound adds more to it, if you're diligent on the journey, if you learn what is the best investment for your $4.50 and the next $4.50 and the next $4.50, and you learn your lessons and you know, okay, that's like a bit of a risk, but I manage that risk closely to my chest and I will be able to multiply my money. The coffee is gone. And honestly, yes, you have like that caffeine, woo, and you have like that 5 minutes of, oh, I love the taste. But I think that's debatable anyway. But then it's gone. You just have an empty bucket and you chuck it, and that's it. But if you invest it into something, even if it's just like giving you a couple of cents back every year, the more you add, the more cents you get back. And eventually, the money invested giving you the $4.50 every month back, every day back. And it's a fantastic feeling once you see how compound takes place and money is actually transforming. So understand the principle. Two people, 10 grand, two different investments. Or one buys liabilities, the other buys an investment, buys an asset. So how your brain locks in money patterns. And this is going a bit into the neuroscience and financial programming. And there are a couple of people out there, they're neuroscientists, they're way better prepared about talking about this topic. But I'm going to tell you what I learned so far and what I could connect on my own journey and believe is a very powerful thing to do. So your brain hardwires money habits from the age of 7. So long before we were able to defend ourselves from outside thoughts, our parents usually weren't aware of that fact. So the gates were unprotected and wide open. So from the age of 7 until, let's say, early 20s, when you start thinking about, oh, I should do a budget, I should take care of my money a bit better. That's like 13, 14, 15, 20 years going unchecked without any filter, what you're soaking in and creating into your own reality. And this is something that's neuroscience based. And this is really something that we need to consider when we want to reprogram, rewire that's already in us, because we need to weed out the old stuff first, replace it with something powerful, and then we can live a completely different life, taking advantage of neuroscience. Fear-based belief activate the survival brain. So that's keeping us small, that's keeping us scarce, and that makes us impossible to flourish, because if we look at what I want to protect, I won't be able to use it as a seed, because throwing a seed into the field is a risk. So if you're like a farmer and you throw like your seed into the field, there are birds eating it, there are other animals trying to get it out of the field. If it's not raining, they might dry out and die. If it falls like on rocky roads, it might pop up, but it dies and withers. So only like a specific percentage of those seeds will actually end up in good soil and produce like harvest 50, 70, 100-fold. And I know I'm stealing an example from the Bible, but that's actually something very powerful. And if we have this scarce survival mind, we want to eat the seeds because that's our bread for today or tomorrow. I want to hold on to it instead of giving it away, releasing it, so it can come back with manifold returns. And this is something that shows us that financial freedom is actually a state of mind, and it's not a number on your bank account, because it doesn't matter how many seeds are on your bank account. If you are holding on to them, holding close to them, you won't be able to let them work for you. Sorry, and that's something we want to consider when we look into our current behavior. Oh, sorry, there was definitely some tough coughing here on my end. Let's keep going. The rich train their brain to expect and attract more money. And this is so powerful because you can train your brain to expect and attract more money. It's like chasing a cat or chasing a chicken. If you chase behind that animal, it's running away. And the only thing you can do is have something in your hands that animal wants. So if you have like some treats, the cat will come. If you have like some corn or stuff, the chicken will come to you automatically because you have something they want. And same applies to money. You want to have something within you that is attracting money to flow into your life. And I'm going to give you a little exercise here. So last time you were driving a car or riding a bus, you've participated in traffic or on the street. You've been in the street. There have been other cars and buses and stuff around you. Let me ask you, how many green cars did you see last time when you were on the road? You might say, Manu, stupid question. I don't know, but there have been green cars. And if now I know, okay, you're going to drive to work now. You have like a 30-minute commute. You're passing the city. And I tell you beforehand, after this session, I'm going to ask you, or after this commute, I'm going to ask you, how many green cars have you encountered? The thing is, you will drive and you will look and you will identify green cars. You will spot them instantly on the street because you have the lenses of spotting green cars on your eyes. Without knowing it, you don't recognize them specifically. But if you know the green cars are out there, you're looking for them, and in the end you say, well, I couldn't count them, but probably 200, 250. I wasn't aware that there are many green cars on the street. And that's really crazy because you suddenly become aware of the situation. You suddenly are aware of the thing you want to focus on. And the same thing applies to expecting and attracting money. So if you train yourself to see opportunities every single day, you say, in the morning when you wake up, maybe you do your affirmation, maybe you do your mindset training, maybe you do one of the exercises we did in our mindset classes, and then you just say to yourself, today is a day where I will see opportunities because there are countless opportunities ahead of me, and I will identify them today. You start your day by looking for opportunities. You're looking at the newspaper and you see, oh, there's an article about that company. That stock might have an effect because of that article. It's worth watching. Or you see something about maybe a real estate thing going on and you think, there might be an opportunity. Or you overhear a conversation from your colleagues and think, that might be a business opportunity. So you start adjusting yourself. Your antenna starts receiving opportunities over and over again because you are opportunity aware. And that's something you can train your brain to look out for opportunities, not looking for green cars because there's no benefit in that. And I promise you, next time you're driving your car, you will watch out for green cars, which is fine. Maybe you have a green car, but the thing is, I want you to use your antenna to scan for opportunities. Opportunities are precious, so powerful if you see them, and then you train yourself to actually take action step into these opportunities. Bold money believes in action. What wealthy people believe that others don't. I'm going to give you a couple of bullet points here. Money flows to value. The more value you create, the more wealth you attract. And this is something I learned many, many years into my career, and I regret not learning that earlier, because whenever I tried to enter a new job or I was negotiating about a pay raise, I didn't bring my value on the table. I brought stuff like, well, others earn that amount, I earn that amount, I want to get a raise so I'm equal to them. Or, hey, I was doing a lot of work, I'm here for a year. There's no value in that. Yeah, I could be there for a year and do nothing. But if you say, well, actually, I'm here for a year now, and I know in the beginning we said the next raise is due in 2 years, so we talk about it in 2 years. I'm here like 50% of the road, but hey, in this year, I've covered for a one long-term sick leave person. I did 2 jobs in once. Also, I pushed forward and integrated that framework and that framework and that framework. I automated that process. I saved the company that amount of money. I did this and this and this. And suddenly you present all the values and your boss says, well, wow, that you did that in like 12 months. That's almost impossible. Wow. Yeah, of course I pay you more, because suddenly you're worth more because you just present your value to your boss. Or if you build a business, what's the real value of your business? It's not selling products. It's selling solutions to a problem someone else has. And the bigger the problem that person has, the more they are willing to pay. So if you're desperately sick and you're willing to get healthy, you want to get healthy, because if you're sick, no one wants to be sick. Sick is being it's bad, and you want to have energy again and feel good again and live a healthy and long life. And if I tell you, well, I got this little pill, you only take one and you're completely restored. And it really works. It's not just a scam, it really works. How much would you willing to trade for that pill? You would give me everything. You would give me your house, your cars, everything. You would happily remain broke poor with that pill in your hand, because now you're healthy again. You can rebuild everything. So if the problem is big, you're willing to pay a big price. And the value in the solution is so incredible. So that's something rich people understand. That's why they create so much value. That's why without the rich and wealthy and the big business people out there who are getting reward for the value they bring, if they wouldn't set out to create value first, we would be stuck in our world today. There would be no invention, nothing great would happen, because people would say, well, why should I create value? But because they know value gives them compensation, that is something very powerful to understand. So I want you to think about yourself as a value bringer, as a value giver, as someone who is actually impacting others on their journey, providing value to a problem they have, and also providing value to your own problems, because then you build trust with yourself. Very powerful. The next thing they do is wealth is unlimited. It's a thinking they all have, because there is enough wealth for all of us in this community. There is enough wealth for all of us. There are enough resources on this planet. And I know there are big voices out there. They say, well, resources are limited, and maybe certain resources are have like an expiry date to it, but technical progress will sort it out. Eventually, at one point, we don't need oil anymore, and then why digging for oil? There's no benefit in it anymore, because we have so many other solutions for that. And so wealth is unlimited, and the rich never think in scarcity, never think, oh, it's limited and restricted. Even something would be limited, They don't allow them to think that way because it limits their thinking, it limits their belief. So that's what I meant in earlier sessions with, or sometimes self-manipulating yourself is not the worst idea if it helps you to live a better life. Next thing is time is the most valuable asset, and they invest, delegate, and automate to save time. And saving time is a biggie, my friend. It's so powerful, and it starts with like the easy tasks at home, the chores. If you're earning more than someone else, or if you're earning more than you would pay to someone else to do the chores for you, it's worth considering letting them do the chores for you, so you free up your time and your energy for something else. And it is and it should be something you consider, just going through your day-to-day life. Maybe make a list what you currently do on chores, what you could outsource or delegate to someone else, compensate them accordingly. I mean, in today's world, you have like even like you don't need to go to the groceries shopping stores anymore by yourself. You can order them online and get them home. You have like an automated order process. Maybe you have a smart fridge at home that's recognizing if something runs low, automatically triggers like an order. So there's so many things you can do. Take advantage of the resources at hand to free up your own time and use your time wisely to grow yourself, to invest into yourself, and invest into your financial journey. Very powerful. Next thing is risk is a tool, not a threat. And that's something, because I've been a risk manager, I'm aware of risks. So risks are my green car. I'm looking constantly, but it's not scaring me. I see it as a tool. I see it as someone, if there's a high risk, there's a high reward for that as well. Or maybe it's a high reward for that as well, if I play my cards right. But because I'm so aware of opportunities and risks, I also talk a lot about it, and I get the feedback from people that a lot of people are scared of risks. They don't want to take risks, and nothing great ever came into the life of someone without taking risks. And let that sink in. You need to take risks to live an extraordinary life. You need to take risks to do something great. You need to take risks to accomplish something. And if you don't take any risks, yes, you can lock yourself in your apartment. Just order your Uber food. Stay at home, because even passing the street could be risky. And you can minimize and mitigate it down, so you would have no fun in life anymore. But also you could say, well, I'm not a slave to my fearful and scarce mindset anymore. I'm gonna break free, and I'm gonna take risks liberally. I'm gonna move towards risks, because I know there is true freedom when I start pursuing something that's risky and also have a big reward at the end. Quick case study. I don't know if you know that story. You know for sure the name Elon Musk. And at one point he created a company called PayPal, where you can like just wire money with email addresses. And that was a big thing in fintech at that time. I remember it when I was in the bank at that time, and they were like, "Oh, PayPal, you heard of this new thing?" They tried to do some financial transaction outside the banking system, which was a big whoa at that time. Nowadays with cryptocurrencies, there's so much outside of the banking system, but at that time it was a really big thing. And people in the bank were actually saying, well, this is not going to work because there's too much regulation on that, and he can't do it because he doesn't have a banking license, blah, 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 blah. And when he actually had PayPal, and he made it a big success, he sold it. He sold it for a lot of money. And then he started 3 new companies, or 2 new companies. Tesla and SpaceX were 2 of them. I don't know how many it was, but he invested literally everything he had, the whole paycheck coming out from PayPal, which was like hundreds of millions, hundreds of billions, a lot of money. I'm not sure about the facts, so I don't tell any false facts, but lots of money, lots of money. And he got lots of money from PayPal. He didn't keep anything for himself. He just reinvested everything into other companies he built at that time. And at that time, he had to sleep on a couch at a friend's place. He was pretty much homeless, but he was worth millions, if not billions at that time. So really, really crazy. And the average person would say, well, if I get like, let's say 200 million out of a deal, I'm going to keep the money, or I'm going to keep at least a bit of that money, have a bit of fun with that money, and reinvest the rest of that money. So let's say 200 million, well, let's have some fun, let's have some big parties, let's buy this house and this car and this supercar. I still can invest half of it, it's fine. But Elon was thinking completely different, and he's a special person. And the crazy thing is, his bet went off, and he did the right thing, investing everything into this new companies. And he built something which we know today is magnificent, is great, one of the most valuable companies on the planet. He's exploring space travel and stuff where others like 10 years ago thought, that's just a nutbag and it's crazy to do that. And it would be deemed like a big misinvestment into that companies, because what do you expect to get out of it? But the crazy part is he didn't hesitate reinvesting everything. And that's the mindset a lot of wealthy people have. That's like a bold money belief. I want you to implement into your daily life. Think, what can I invest? Not how much do I need to invest to come at some point into the space of having an easier life, but more like from the perspective, how much can I invest? How much can I put into it from myself, from my resources, from my money? Because then you're front-footed all in. There's a big difference in what's going on in our head. If we have this protective thing, I have, let's say I have $10,000. I put like $100 into this. And if the thing actually turns to be a winner and you 10x your money, you made another $1,000. But if you have your 10 grand, you say, well, I did my research. I'm confident. I have my emergency fund and my insurance in place. I have my savings, but this is the money I want to play with. I've treated it as a game, no financial advice, and put everything in because I'm fully invested. I did everything I could, and now I let it go. I'm gonna throw the seed into the field. And then you have a 10x, suddenly you have 100 grand. It's a big difference in the outcome. And this is something I want to challenge you today, that you are having this, when you're having this inner self-talk that's holding you back pursuing an opportunity. And it's not just about money, it's about any opportunity. Just think about, instead of thinking what could go wrong, think about what could go right. What if this was the right thing to do? What if this is the thing that actually changes my life? Because most life-changing events, they come down to one single decision, which was not a big decision at all at that moment. And the crazy part is you can turn your whole life around by just being a little bit bolder, a little bit more courageous, and a little bit more front-footed. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, and I have to preach to myself big time about this, because even when I love to pursue opportunities, I love to take risks, very often I stand on my own brakes and wait. And this is something I want to change every single day. So you see, although being like many years in this journey, I'm still struggling with the same stuff. And let's take Elon here as not as our role model, but as an example to reflect on ourselves and see what we can improve in our own journey to have more bold money beliefs. Rewiring your wealth blueprint. This is like something I want to quickly show you, that your wealth identity leads to your financial destiny. We talked about this in the beginning. So a couple of steps for you. The first thing is identify a limiting money belief. We did this in past sessions. The exercise I'm having for you is exactly what we're talking now. Step 2 is find proof it's false. So identify that this limiting belief is false. Then rewire it into an empowering belief. So you replace it with something very empowering, and then take action that aligns with your new belief. You want to have it in place. You want to get back on that horse. You want to instantly do what your new belief system is actually telling you to do. And a quick example here, if your old belief is, oh, I'll never make 6 figures, turn it into people like me make six figures every single day. There are people like they're just ordinary people like we are, and they just turning like one idea into a six-figure business or into a six-figure salary. And now what's the action? What I can do with this new rewired thought, this new thought I believe in, that I can actually make six figures without problems. Okay, high income skills might be an option for that. Building a business might be an option for that. But let's stay with the high income skill. Okay, I'm going to enroll into a high income course, income skill course, sorry. So let's say I'm going to learn AI, because AI is something that's going to take off very soon. Companies are already onboarding people who are quite familiar with AI, who are AI experts. So maybe I learn a little bit more about AI, so I can actually sell my service to a company, either as a business or as an employee who's like saying, well, you're gonna pay me 200 grand because I'm worth it. And I bring the AI solutions into your company, saving the rest of your staff like 2 days a week so they can be more efficient with their time. And or you apply for a high paying role that already gives you like six figures because you say, well, Manu, I already have the skills. I'm just underpaid here at my current position. Well, look for another position, see the value you provide, and take that thought about your value into your interview, because what you're doing in your current job is great because it's like a field research for your next role. And if you look at it this way, it's not time wasted. It's something very powerful because you've done something very great, and I believe in the last 12 or 24 months, you achieved great things because you had to in your current company. Just take it into something that's valuable for your new employer and start with that. Say, well, even in your cover letter, say, well, I implemented that and that in my current role. I'm really keen to implement things into your company, to automate things, whatever you're doing. And it's very powerful if you start with the value you provide, and then you can introduce yourself and say, well, my name is very powerful, because they look for values. Managers look for values. Companies, they hiring looking for values. People looking for business partners looking for value. What's the value someone else is giving me, giving my company in return? And then it doesn't matter how much you want for that value. If the value is actually solving a big problem, they are willing to pay you a lot of money for that. So the wealth identity challenge, this is like making it practical, because to make this real, you need to prove to your brain that your new belief is true. So we're working with our self-relationship here a bit. Choose one bold money belief, and then in the second step, you take one action to reinforce it, and then you post it in the community, because we want to shout you out for doing so. We want to shout you out if it's like a very courageous thing to do. It doesn't matter where on the journey you are. First, of course, you need to identify something that's wrong before you start with an empowering, bold money belief. But the whole exercise I'm giving you will give you the solution for that. So taking action, do the wealth identity challenge, download the guide, exercise, rewire your mind for financial success. If you're watching this on YouTube, you need to join our Wealth Builders community. It's completely free. Just click on that link below, join our Wealth Builders Clubhouse, go into the classroom. Underneath that session, there is the link. So if you're part of Wealth Builders Clubhouse already, congratulations, well done. Underneath this video is the link. And if you're in our university, then the link is underneath as well. Second thing is, post in our community one new belief you're committing to. And that's something you see at the exercise at the end. There's something that helps. It gives you a little bit of an example as well, how you can use the wording for that, and then just post it in our community, because we want to cheer you on that journey. And the next, maybe one of the most important things I can tell you is join our live calls. Those live calls are incredible because we come together, we're real people with real connections. In this video, I can tell you a lot, but you're still like, there's still something missing. But if we're talking via Zoom, there's so much more behind it. You can ask questions. I can see where you're currently standing, what you're currently battling, and we can actually, as a group together, help each other on this journey. That makes the whole journey really powerful. So those live calls are one thing I believe are the true superpower of our Wealth Builders communities. In a summary, your money beliefs are not facts, they are choices. The wealthy think differently, and you can too. Taking action is what cements bold money beliefs. So taking action is literally the thing that manifests into reality what we already believe, because we can take the biggest words and say, well, I'm gonna explore this and this, or I'm gonna go and swim with sharks and all this kind of stuff, and it might be it sounds bold, and people around me might be like, oh, Manu's amazing, he's gonna swim with sharks. But then when I go to the beach, I'm actually standing there, water's too cold, going home or having a coffee. And problem is, when I come back, people will, how was it swimming with sharks? And then I need to be either telling them the truth or create like a video with AI where I swim with sharks. Maybe they identify that the shark has 5 fingers on his hand and say, well, that's actually not really a shark. But you get the point. So taking action is so important and so powerful. And that's why in every video, I want you to take action. These are your tiny micro steps towards your goal. And I want to encourage you to do so. So if I'm just preaching to you and you're listening and it's all fine, but you're not doing what I tell you to do, you're missing out big time. And that's why I create this exercise, this workbooks, this worksheets, this guided exercises, so you can actually follow them step by step, which I believe is a very powerful asset in our community. And last part, your financial reality is a mirror of your identity. So inwards turns outwards. What is it within you becomes your reality. So what we want to do is building ourselves so our new self creates the new reality around us, the stuff we dream of, the stuff we want to have in our lives. And it works for all areas of life. Yes, we talk about money, about finances, about financial beliefs, but it works for all areas of your life. So if you say, well, Manu, I'm good with finances, but I'm actually lacking good health, or I'm lacking a great relationship or stuff like this, you can apply the same principles, because your inward turns into your outwards world. And this is so powerful and so fantastic, because it shows we are in control. As always, Wealth Builders CC/testimonial. I highly appreciate if you want to give me a testimony, if something I said was helpful, if there are some gold nuggets in for you, or even you're on the journey and one of my tips, tricks, and hacks helped you along the way, something you could do. I mentioned that one guy who was able to save up $1,000 and could buy an engagement ring. These are the stories I want to hear. These are the stories I want to get in my testimonies, because I believe they are so powerful, and this will make a big difference for people out there who are on the website and are hesitant of joining the community, although it's free, and watch through the testimonies and see, well, if those guys are actually having that kind of results, I want that in my life too. I want them to be honest. I want them to actually reflect your journey, reflect the solution and the value I'm providing for you here in this free group. And I know that people are already saying, well, Manu, why don't you charge anything for that? I have a premium program, it's Wealth Builders University. And you get the rest of the bootcamp, so week 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, plus a bonus week over there, and additional trainings. But I want to provide you with as much as I can on this journey without charging anything for it, because I believe there should be a fair starting point for all of us. And I know that that stuff I'm teaching you here in this first week is something others already charge you thousands for. Just the last session alone, if you go to a financial expert and do a financial plan with them, you pay them big money for that. And yes, this is the value I want to provide you, because I want to be invested in your journey. And I am willing to do the first step. I'm willing to give you value without expecting anything in return. And if you say, well, what Manu is doing is great, and I really love this stuff he's teaching and all the exercises, then join our university, which is fantastic, because there are people who are doing the extra mile, people who are willing to invest even money into their growth and coming forward and doing great things. And also being surrounded by people like that is making a lot of difference in our lives. So if you think this is something you want to pursue, join us at Wealth Builders University. But the least is, or something I really, really would love, is getting your testimonial on that website. You can write one, you can take a video. Both works fine. Wayne Dyer said, abundance is not something we acquire, it is something we tune into. And this reflects the whole and underlines the whole thing we're talking about. We tune into something. We make a decision to tune into something. It's not a process that works outwards. It's a process that works inwards and turns our inwards into our outwards. So this is something very powerful. And as always, act now, be unstoppable. If you're watching this on YouTube, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. Maybe leave a comment and give me a like. That shows the algorithm that what I'm doing is valuable, even for others. And if you're not part of our community, join our clubhouse. I would be delighted to have you and can't wait to get to know you in our live calls. See you, my friend.